Hey guys, Wrestling Throwdown here. I'm Haley and I'm here with my wonderful co-host Joe today, and we are here to talk about Raw.
That's right.
Um,
The dice.
I didn't think Raw was that great last night. I thought it was very boring, to tell you the truth. There wasn't a lot of people there. Randy Orton wasn't there. The Authority wasn't there, which I thought that was kind of shocking. Triple H and Stephanie wasn't there. Renee Young wasn't there either. I think she was in Vegas with Dean, though, taking a break,
Yeah,
having a little vacation. And
probably.
who else wasn't there? Oh, Brock Lesnar wasn't there.
Well,
But I was prepared for that. He's been doing taping some backstage stuff, so he probably won't be there for the next few weeks. But it was just kind of, I don't know, just no one was really there. John Cena was there this week, so I guess there was that. But other than that, they really just focused on the John Cena thing and maybe the Seth thing. That's about it. And I guess Brie and Nikki, too, they focused on. But they couldn't really focus on Roman and Randy because he wasn't there, and they couldn't focus on the Authority or anything. But, Joe, what did you think about Raw? Did you think it was okay?
there was some points you're gonna be surprised how enjoyable I found them, but it was a very hit or miss. I would say. Very hit or
Yeah.
miss.
Okay, so we first start off. I like the opening segment because, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time, so it's always a joy to see him. It was a Hall of Fame forum with Michael Cole, and then he brought out Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Shawn Michaels, and they pretty much just talked about John Cena's rematch. I guess he made his rematch clause on Sunday that he wanted to, invoke his rematch against Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. And they pretty much, Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels both said that John Cena should just not do it. Like, he has no point, he has no hope, and that he should just back out now because he's not going to win. And Hulk Hogan, of course, surprise here, no surprise here because he wants to fight him. He says that John Cena still has what it takes and he can still go and everything like that. And he pretty much says that he's ready for Brock Lesnar. And then John Cena came out and said, I know what you all are thinking, and that I got my ass beat. There's no, doubt about that, how he always is. He's just like, but, I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to kick his ass this time. And that was pretty much that. Just John Cena's same stuff. He really didn't act that much different. I mean, I guess he acted a little bit more serious than usual. Not so jokey, but it was still pretty much the same one.
Less jokey, more snarky. I
Yeah.
thought the segment was okay. I thought it was different to start off with the panel, almost like how it's been the pre-show for the pay-per-views and the Raws. So they started off a little different with the Legends panel, and having Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels sit next to each other, quite interesting. Storied history there, going back to when Shawn didn't want to turn heel for Hogan at the '05 SummerSlam, and just a lot of shoot stuff that went on with Hogan and Shawn Michaels throughout the year. So it was quite interesting to see them. And you could tell there's still a kind of a, how do I say, like a rocky chemistry with HBK and the Hulkster. You can tell they're not huge fans of each other, where Flair's not the hugest Hogan's fan either, but Flair knows Hogan draws money, and Flair and HBK are obviously brothers. But overall, decent segment, like you said, not too much of a change with John Boy, but certainly comes out, said what you expect him to say, ready for a fight indeed, and he's got his little first tune-up match against Bray Wyatt coming up. All in all, not bad. Cool excuse to bring the Hall of Famers in. Hadn't seen Shawn involved in a segment in a while, so that was pretty cool. And by the way, your boy Seth Rollins getting a lot of Shawn Michaels comparisons lately. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I know. I like it, too.
Not a
We'll
bad
talk about that, too, during this segment.
Not a bad thing.
Next is Rusev versus Jack Swagger. Another rematch. And Jack Swagger, like I said, Rusev obviously wins, but he wins because the referee stops the match. So Jack Swagger, these past 5 matches he has not really lost. It's either been a count out, DQ, something like that. He hasn't lost like cleanly, like with pinfall or submission. He hasn't like tapped out or anything. So I just think it's interesting because it's almost like they're not really letting him win, but they're not letting him lose either. So I still have hope for him that they are still thinking about doing something with him and letting him maybe like kind of lose these matches, but not really, and then just come out high on top and just surprise us one day and just get a nice, huge victory, which would be very nice. I would really like that because I'm a huge fan of Jack Swagger, and I think he deserves it.
It's Balboa kind of storyline, I feel, and like he keeps losing, like you said, but not cleanly, but keeps coming back, and now you're gonna see the Bo Dallas thing, obviously, keep him busy and kind of build him back up through that. So honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Swags does eventually get that W over Rusev because they're just not letting this go, and it just doesn't seem like. It's funny, you saw Mark Henry come out last week, and they didn't really follow up on that. I'll get to Mark Henry and Big Slow later. My thoughts on those two, the twin towers of repeats over there. But all in all, interesting stuff.
Yeah, he and speaking of Bo Dallas, he actually backstage when they were fixing Swagger up, his ribs and everything, Bo Dallas came backstage with him and said, you really let your country down again. And he's just like, well, all you got to do is believe. And obviously Jack Swagger didn't like that. He's just getting inside his head, making him feel bad that he let down all the Americans and everything. And Bo is just smiling away, and he just thinks everything's so funny and cheerful. And then when he loses, he just goes nuts, like he's bipolar, like what you said last week, I think it was. But yeah, this is an interesting feud, though. I really do like this. I think that this could work. Like I told our viewers on SmackDown, I believe, that I think C.J. Parker, if he comes up, that it could be him and Jack Swagger could do something too, with the environment, and then I think that could work too. There are a couple of different gimmicks that can work with Jack Swagger as a face, like people were worried about that, but it's just like I can think of a few people it could work with. It's just like people, are just like already like, oh no, he's not going to do it. But it's like I have faith in his face turn. I really do. The people are getting behind him. The people really like him. It's just like he hasn't been faced for a long time, and he's getting a little bit better with his talking too. Now that Zeb, we don't know what's going to happen with Zeb. I don't know if he's coming back or what. I don't know. They might just have Jack Swagger be alone and try and work on his talking.
I think that's going to be the case. Babyface managers, as a rule, don't work well. Reminds me a lot of just Captain Lou. It's kind of blah, cookie cutter. Doesn't leave the managers a lot. Managers are designed to get their clients heat, get them over, get them further in their career. It's tough to do. Like the babyface, Miss Elizabeth managing a heel Macho Man. They've played with the formula over the years. But as a rule, you want a heel manager. Babyface managers are more cheerleaders. But so I'll be Uncle Zeb for a while. But overall, I like what they're doing here. They're building, from a psychological standpoint, they're building the sympathy for Jack Swagger, and that's going to help him get over, because that's one of the keys there. As a babyface, you got to have that sympathy, and he keeps coming that close, but he's I think it's helping him. I don't think he comes across with the lisp anymore. I think he comes across with confidence. I think working with Zeb certainly has helped his talking ability. Let's hope Zeb, one of the great talkers, and certainly in his day, and even recently. So, Swags, and again with Bo Dallas, it's something for him to do. It's great to see him still on Raw. There was rumors, obviously, that Vince wasn't high on him and maybe he would get sent down, but I don't want to see Bo get sent down. I think Bo can keep on the main roster. Interesting, you didn't see Adam Rose. You haven't seen Adam Rose. I didn't watch SmackDown. Maybe he was on SmackDown, but you haven't seen Adam Rose in a while. Perhaps his bubble has burst and he's back to lemon status over there.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Adam Rose thing. I was going to mention it maybe when he came back or something, but I don't even know if he is going to come back, so I guess I'll mention it now. I guess now's a good time as ever. I think it was like 2 days ago on my website that said this. They have lost all faith. I think he's either completely done, they're going to change his gimmick completely around, or they are going to send him back to developmental and just have him work. He has been tag teaming with Sami Zayn. I guess they're a tag team now. So what they could do is just have him tag team with Sami Zayn and get the NXT tag team titles. and like have him, with the developmental group and everything for a while, and like keep him off of, the main roster, because it wasn't working out, and it'll help Sami Zayn to, get a title, and it'll just work out for both of them. It'll just see they can actually improve on his gimmick.
And obviously, the pictures have been floating around. It looks like they might be putting Prince Devitt and Kevin Steen together as a tag team. Yeah. Now, you probably want to throw Kevin Steen there against Sami with the chemistry that they've had going back throughout the years to go on to capitalize on that. You throw Devitt in there. How can Leo Kruger, whatever, Adam Rose, whatever he's going to roll with at this point, how could he not have bad matches being in there with a mixture of those guys? So maybe that'll help him, and he's a good wrestler. He got signed because he was a good wrestler. Leo Kruger in the Indies, he didn't get signed because he was a gimmick, and they tried to force him to be a gimmick. Maybe they just watched a few Russell Brand movies and was like, hey, let's have this guy. What was he? Was he like a club promoter? Was he on drugs? We never even knew what his deal was. He's just coming out with a bunch of people. It gave a lot of indie guys, though, a chance to shine. Shout out to Mark Sherman, local indie wrestler who actually played the hot dog a few times when they went to Boston and Connecticut, including the pay-per-view I went to, Money in the Bank. Big shout out. The Shirt Thing, Mark Schumann. Team Friendship. By the way, WWE.com did an article about him, too. So, get familiar. Team Friendship.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're going to do with Adam Rose. Hopefully this will help him, and hopefully it'll give them time to feel like if they do have to change the gimmick, they can in NXT and start him over, or if they, give him a few more ideas while he's working in NXT. Next is this actually surprised me. Number one contender for U.S. title. They pretty much, they didn't know what to do with Sheamus, so they put a number one contender match with RVD versus Cesaro, and Cesaro wins. I do want to talk about RVD just for a second here. I guess he is done with WWE after tonight, after the SmackDown tapings. He is done. He is going away for a while. That's what the word is on a lot of websites I looked at, not just my website, because I did, a little research. I guess I don't know if he's going to be done for good with WWE, but he's taken like a good break, I guess. I don't know how long he's going to be gone for, if he is going to be back or what, but he is supposed to be done after this week. So I thought that was interesting. I do really like, though, that Cesaro won. I think this would be good for... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was souped, honey. I'm a Cesaro fan, finally definitive win. And I actually think this can do Sheamus some favors, too. That's great chemistry right there. I think we can bring the best out of each other, is Sheamus and Cesaro. Finally, Cesaro can do something. It's the first thing he's done since he left the Miro Americans that's going to have meaning, I feel. Like, they even teased him joining the Authority, and they haven't followed up on that. So, finally, a good feud with Sheamus. And, I don't know if he's going to take the belt off him. I hope he does, but we shall see.
Yeah, I really think this would be good for Cesaro if they did take the belt off of him, or off of Sheamus. But Sheamus, they have not done anything for, so I was actually really excited that they're actually going to make him defend his title. I was like, finally, they're doing something with the U.S. title, and especially if they put it on Cesaro, I think that could be really good. They actually did talk about, after Bray Wyatt gets done with Chris Jericho, he's supposed to feud with Sheamus for the title. I thought this was a little interesting, and I didn't like it at first because I'm like, well, you're taking Bray Wyatt to a main event or to a mid-card, but then at the same time, this could really, really give the belt a lot of, charisma and everything, and people actually caring about the U.S. title again if Bray Wyatt holds it. And this could actually be very, very good for WWE. If he actually holds it, because, you'll get more title defense, and you'll get a person who actually knows how to just really work with it and everything. So I do think that if it is really to get the belt off Sheamus, I do think that Bray Wyatt could be the one to do it. But I wouldn't mind Cesaro doing it either, because I really like Cesaro a lot, and I think it could be good for him.
I don't think Cesaro's going to win. A few predictions down the road. I think it'll be a great match, and I'm going to be rooting for him to win. Sure.
Yeah. Next is this was an interesting. I actually enjoyed this one. Paige versus Natalia, and Paige won, and then AJ came out, and Paige got steered, and she ran back in the ring, and Natalia clotheslined her. And then AJ gets in the ring, and I'm like, oh, she's going to attack her, right, like everyone thought. She actually helps her up, and I'm like, she's going to have to attack her at the end of this, isn't she? She helps her up, and she says, I can be sincere, too. And she holds on to Paige for like a good 10, 15 seconds, and Paige is getting a little freaked out, it looks like, by the looks of her face. And then she grabs her hand, and instead of giving her a handshake, she kisses her hand. I guess I don't know if this was a version of the PJ lesbian angle or what, but I do think it would be interesting if they did turn this into something like a Trish and Mickie James thing. Just because these two are just so great, both of them just like Mickie James and Trish. You know, AJ can be the Mickie James because she's crazy too. They're both crazy. And, you know, Paige is like the Trish, the champion. So I would really like them to do something with this angle and not just back it off. I think it is just pretty much AJ just trying to get into the head of Paige, but I really hope they go farther with this. Like AJ jumping in her arms and just kissing her. Even if it's just like a short kiss or just on the cheek or something, just something interesting. Because I think a lot of guys are going to like it, obviously. And,
yeah, it was had some good HLA, as Eric Bischoff used to call it, in quite a while on WWE programming. I mean, even Paige is starting to get a little bit more provocative when she gets the girls in kind of like the mount positions. She's kind of doing this little seductive thing with her body, like. So I actually feel like Paige would be the Mickie James in this scenario because she's the younger one and she's the one who was initially obsessed with AJ. And AJ would be the Trish because AJ's the veteran who's kind of the leader of the locker room at this point. But either way, yeah, it's going to be great, and we'll see if they continue it. I know CM Punk's probably enjoying
it. Yeah, sitting at home just watching it.
Best in the world.
It's definitely interesting, though. I don't like AJ, and I think it's really interesting what she's doing and what they're doing with her. I do. I like it a lot.
I like your outfit too. Nice.
Yeah, I thought she actually looked kind of cute, you know. Yeah, even though I don't really like her or anything, and I think Paige is way prettier than her, but it's whatever.
Kind of like Converse skater girl for something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely different than the jean shorts she always wears. Kane comes out, and this was like what did they call it? So I just pretty much called it a memory of Dean Ambrose, pretty much of a memory of his. They called it something though. Oh yeah. And then pretty much a celebration of Seth Rollins, and he comes out, and he starts talking about Dean and saying, "What if?" And he does this laugh, and I want to talk about his laugh for a second because I was talking to Paul Jazer about this. And he said that it sounded like a rat that had a sinus infection. And I'm just like, I loved it, and me and him both did love it, but because it like pretty much if they hated Seth Rollins, it would get them, you know, just it would irk them, you know, just that kind of annoying laugh that he had. I didn't think it was annoying. I loved it. I loved everything about it, but it got the haters to be like, oh, you know, he's egging us on, and he thinks it's so funny that he did that to, especially the Dean lovers too. It really got underneath their skin, that whole laugh, you know, and it was perfect. And he pretty much said that he was the leader of the Shield again, which I think is so funny that he keeps saying that. I think he needed to be, since he was NXT champion at the time when this started, and everyone thought he was supposed to be the leader, but he never was. It really wasn't a leader. And he pretty much said he created the Shield and he destroyed it. He says when he handpicked Dean Ambrose because Dean Ambrose was crazy and that he was a physical fighter and that, you know, he could do anything. But he says he was the only one, obviously, who could control him, and so now without him, Dean is just some crazy person who needs to be in a straitjacket. And he pretty much got what he wanted. The fans, he blamed it on the fans and said, you wanted this match, so the blood is on your hands. And pretty much that this is the last we're going to see of Dean, and obviously that is not true. He is filming a movie, and I do think it's kind of funny that his girlfriend Renee Young was not there at the same time tonight. But yeah, he is filming a movie. He's supposed to be back. They said they're supposed to be done filming September 20th. That is the day before Night of Champions. He could make a return on the pay-per-view, but the word is it's going to be the Monday after the pay-per-view is when he's going to. So then they can set up their steel cage match for Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I'm really hoping no match. Like, that's the perfect blow-off. Let's face it, Neely, the Hell in the Cell has been one of those matches that throughout the years is just losing more and more cachet. You know, people talk about the WrestleMania match with The Undertaker and Triple H with Shawn as the ref. I didn't even think that was a particularly great Hell in a Cell match. I just thought they told a good story within the confines of a Hell in a Cell with the three legendary characters in the ring. But, you know, the Hell in a Cell isn't what it was with Undertaker and Mick Foley or Triple H and Mick Foley. You know, it's really lost, or even Edge and Undertaker in 2008 SummerSlam. It's really lost a lot of luster. And I think Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, considering what they did for a goddamn lumberjack match, which are usually your fillers, your cool-down matches, your matches that are just forgettable matches on the card. I can never, ever remember a lumberjack match that could even come close to touching what they did. So just imagine, you bring those two individuals, those two elements, those two great superstars on the rise, and put them in the Hell in the Cell. And hell, let's throw Roman Reigns in the mix too. Anyone fapping yet? Because I am.
Speaking of Roman Reigns, he actually came out and he said this on SmackDown, I think it was. He said that Seth was going to pay for hurting his boy Dean Ambrose. They're obviously still close. And he came out and he tried to attack Seth, and Seth obviously got out of the ring with Kane's help. And then backstage, they pretty much made the match. Seth said, you know, we need to get Roman Reigns too because he's not going to stop either. And Kane makes a handicap match with Kane and Seth versus Roman Reigns for later on in the night.
I thought this was an interesting idea, Haley, not to cut you off. I really like what they're doing, injecting Roman Reigns and starting to work with Seth and maybe get thrown in the mix with a Shield feud. Honestly, the Randy Orton-Reigns thing, I don't think it has much more legs to go much longer. And they're advertising Orton to come back on the highlight reel next week. So maybe Jericho's done with Wyatt. Wyatt got his clean victory, and maybe you do one more Randy versus Jericho match, you know, because they'll probably got a month to tell a good story. They can pull something good out of their ass. So, I mean, it's kind of just ironic, just interesting that you got Jericho coming back next week, and you got both of them were off the show this week, and they're gonna be, you know, Randy's gonna be on the highlight reel. So I honestly think Randy might be done with Roman. Roman got his clean victory, and now Uncle Kane and Seth are trying to deal with it. And I think this is great. Seth and Dean have been stealing the shows lately, no doubt about it. No close to an argument. Roman needs the rub at this point, and like Seth right now, like is on top of the, like, you know, you want to put the, how you say, like the standings of where the three Shield guys are at. Right now it is Seth who reigns on top, Mr. Money in the Bank, and obviously, you know, he's already took out Dean Ambrose, and he made a play at Reigns, so I think he can really get the best out of Reigns, and I think Reigns needs this to up his game. If Reigns thinks he's going to be ready for Lesnar at WrestleMania, he needs to go through the Shield and prove he is the dominant force. Because right now, I don't know, I might take Dean or Seth over Roman in terms of who I would pay to see at this point.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because they did say that Triple H was supposed to be facing Roman at Night of Champions, and the Authority wasn't even here for this week, and then they didn't even do anything with it last week, so obviously that's out of the question right now. And then they do this whole angle with, it seemed like Randy was still, I don't know if you watched SmackDown, but it seemed like, I mean, Randy and Roman still headed butts, and they attacked each other on SmackDown. So I'm not really sure if they are still going to do that feud, because it looks like they are, but then this week with Randy being gone, I'm not really sure. And then with him and being with Seth, because what's Seth gonna do now that Dean's not here? I figured that they were just gonna let him, rest and then have like a, little fake cash in and act like he was gonna cash in the Money in the Bank and not going to. But anything's a possibility right now. There's definitely a couple different matches they can do with this. And obviously Dean could show up at Night of Champions and help out Roman. Kane and Seth might just come out and destroy Roman, and then Dean could just make his shocking return at Night of Champions. And, I mean, it would be a little bit late notice. He would have to obviously take a plane ride and everything like that really fast, like get on the first flight, because his movie is finishing the last day, the night before Night of Champions, so it would be like a last-minute thing if he did show up at Night of Champions. But I do think it would be cool, if Kane and Seth, attacked Roman, and then Dean just came out of nowhere, and then, saved Roman, and then, it just kind of would be like, oh, Seth's just like, oh, shoot, Dean's back, and then it could, lead him up to Hell in a Cell. As for Randy, I'm not really sure. I guess he might face Chris Jericho. I do know Chris Jericho is going to be done after this month, so I do think they need to finish the Wyatt thing. But it's whatever, I guess, whatever they want to do with it. They can do a couple of different things with it. So, Joe, your opinions?
Yeah, I honestly feel at this point they've called an audible. And Wyatt and Jericho's done. Like I said, maybe they're moving Wyatt with Sheamus. So Jericho and Randy have a good chemistry. I think it'll change things up a bit. I don't think they were too happy with how that Randy and Roman match went. Besides the last 5 minutes during Roman's hot comeback, it really was kind of a stale throwaway match, which was very underwhelming considering the expectations of that match and how it was going to benefit Roman Reigns going forward. So honestly, if I'm booking it, I don't even know what I'm going to do with Randy at this point. Maybe just, have him be pissed at the Authority and have him go against Uncle Kane, or maybe have Batista come back, beat Randy, and then have Batista fight Brock for a little while. Do something like that. Because at this point, Randy and Roman isn't doing it for me. And I think you put Roman back with the Shield guys, which is the two people that helped get him to the level where he's at right now. And Dean and Seth are obviously elevating themselves just based on their work rate, not on the push they're getting, but their work rate and what they're maximizing of their push. So honestly, you wait to, you have Dean come back, the Raw after Night of Champions, as you mentioned, and you start building to a triple threat match at Hell in the Cell: Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. Take my money.
Definitely.
Seriously. We talked about maybe doing that match at WrestleMania. That match would have got lost in the shuffle at WrestleMania with everything that happened. That match can steal the show at Hell in the Cell. And that can make Hell in the Cell actually be a presentable pay-per-view, because that pay-per-view has been kind of weak over the past few years.
Yeah, it really hasn't been good, because they've only had like one cage match, and that was it, and all the rest were just pretty much. Next.
I'm okay with just one cage match, but let's make the cage match count.
Yeah, definitely.
The last time we had a Hell in a Cell that we would put in the same category as Undertaker or Mick Foley, or even Edge and Undertaker in 2008. They're few and far between.
Yeah, but we need more blood. Next was pretty interesting because it was a heel turn. I guess it was supposed to be a heel turn. At least it looked like a heel turn to me. Goldust and Stardust versus the Usos for the tag team titles. And I actually thought Goldust and Stardust were going to win. I was actually shocked that they didn't, but obviously they went another way with this and they turned them heel. They still could win the titles because technically they won and they still get the rematch. But I do think it's interesting that they're both heels now, because we haven't seen Goldust be heel in a long time, since the 1990s.
Yeah,
so,
well, in the 2000s, but not much.
Yeah.
Well, that over the top kind of homosexual antagonist, and he was just so over the top back then. Obviously, they're not going to push that envelope, but interesting. Stardust doesn't strike me as heelish, so I don't know. This is going to be interesting how they play this out. And Goldust can obviously carry this with the promos. He knows how to do it. And could this mean the Usos' title reign is in jeopardy? It's been a while now, 6+ months for the Usos, and when is their number going to get called? They survived the Wyatts. They've survived a lot of credible teams. Maybe Slatergate takes the belts off them. Who knows?
I love that. But yeah, this is interesting. I do see them getting another rematch at Hell in a Cell. I think actually all the titles might be on the line. I really do. Maybe the Intercontinental might not be, but I mean,
they have to be.
I don't know. They're still doing stuff with Miz and Dolph, so I think this might be the one pay-per-view where every title is online, and that would be very nice because that's how I would do it. If I was booking it, I'd have every single title on the line, and then I'd start putting in matches that were just feuds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, every title must be on the line. It's the Night of Champions gimmick. It's been like that for a long time. You remember last year?
Oh yeah, it is Night of Champions. Why did I say Hell in a Cell? Oops. Sorry about that.
Well, we're talking about it with Dean and Seth. We're kind of looking ahead with Dean and Seth and Roman as, with Dean coming back and what they could do in a Hell in a Cell. I want to see that. But, yeah, no, every title on the line, Night of Champions, absolutely. And, Cesaro, Sheamus, Miz, Ziggler, Usos, Goldust, Stardust, AJ Page, Cena Brock rematch. We certainly got all the title matches lined up.
Yeah. Speaking of the next title match, Dolph Ziggler versus Miz. And Miz said that he was not wrestling and that he wanted to save his moneymaker. And then he said his stunt double was coming out for him. And it was Damien Sandow. So funny. And he was dressed like him and everything. And obviously Dolph Ziggler won. And, Miz, just, clapped for him and everything and said pretty much Damien Sandow was fired. And it just pretty much added to the feud, that they're going to, hopefully, I think they should. Obviously, since Night of Champions. I thought last Night of Champions, though, they didn't have one title on the line. Because didn't CM Punk say...
Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman were fighting Punk in a 2-on-1 with the title not on the line. But then they added Curtis versus Kofi as a throw-in before their match. So they did.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that was, okay. All right, yeah, I forgot about the Kofi thing, so yeah. Yeah, so it should be on the line, but I am interested. I hope they do continue this feud after this. I do like their feud. They always have good matches together. They work very well in the ring. I think their movesets match very well together.
I kind of hope they keep Damien Mizdow as the stunt double. I found that hilarious. I thought that was the funniest thing I've seen in weeks. And I think The Miz obviously works well with assistants. We already know that if you're a fan of The Miz and know his history with Alex Riley and everything. This could be his new assistant. Like, they should do a thing where Sandow on SmackDown begs for, like, his job back. Like, come on, Miz, like, I need this. Let me be a consistent, like, a stunt double. It's genius. And he was awkwardly wearing Miz's tights and stuff, which just didn't quite fit him, which made it even funnier. And he was working like Miz, too. He was wrestling like Miz and striking like Miz and bumping like Miz and selling like Miz and all the little subtle nuances. And I think this can work as Damien Mizdow being the stunt double for a while. I think this adds to the layers of what they're trying to do with the Miz's character. And at this point, of course, he's going to have a stunt double. Why not? So I think they should keep Damien Sandow as a stunt double. Let him kind of try to get the rub off Miz, maybe get reestablished here. A stunt double gimmick. I think it's genius. I've watched wrestle a long time. I don't remember something like that. So I hope it's not a one-shot deal. Unlike the with Brian and cheating on Brie Bella with the personal assistant. I'm glad that seemed like a one-shot deal. I hope this is more than a one-shot deal. I think this could be entertaining.
Yeah, the only problem with Damien Sandow is they've been changing. They've just been doing different stuff with him every week, changing into something different. So I really don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think they're going to stick with it. I think it would be good for both Damien Sandow, definitely, because it would give him something to do and it wouldn't keep changing his character and stuff like that. It would just, have him have a role, and actually do something with him, because he pretty much is a comedy gimmick right now, and they don't know what to do with him. They don't care about him, and they're just like, okay, you're going to dress up as this person this time and this person the next week, They pretty much just give him stuff to do, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I loved it. My girl actually called it. She was like, watch, it's going to be Sandow. Out he came, Damien I loved every second of it. I really hope. I think that I see potential here. It's been a while, and I saw potential with that Nation storyline. We saw they killed that off. So I really hope they continue this. To me, this is the payoff for Sandow dressing up like Magneto and all these different guys over the past few months. You remember like the BWO and ECW, they were doing the dress up stuff every week, and the BWO was just to make fun of the NWO 1 week and ended up getting over. I think this can get over. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it, and to me, like I said, it adds to the Miz's character at this point.
Definitely. It gives them something. It gives people actually talking and actually liking the Miz, because a lot of people I know don't like the Miz and they think he's boring. So hopefully this will help with them.
I am a Miz fan. I do love the Miz. I am not a Miz hater, but I'm a Miz critic. I'm critical of his work, but I am a Miz fan at the end.
Next is this is when I thought the Authority was going to come out, or at least Stephanie was going to come out, and she didn't. Jerry Lawler controls this whole thing, and he pretty much tells Nikki and Brie to come out. And Brie pretty much says that she's sorry and that she knows that she abandoned Nikki, when she quit, and she said she never knew that this was going to happen, and that she's sorry. And Nikki says, that's full of crap. I don't believe you. You act like you're such an angel all the time, and you're not. And, people need to see the real you, and you used to steal all my boyfriends, and she put all this stuff in. It was pretty funny. And she pretty much said that she wishes she would die in the womb. And Brie...
I think you're going to get heat for that line. That was powerful.
Yeah, that was powerful.
There's some parental rights group or some kind of activist group that gives them some bad press over that.
Yeah, and then she started attacking Brie and everything. She hit her with the shoe. She hit her with the mic. She just went all crazy. Yeah, she did some...
She hit her on the mic, too. She didn't hit her with the mic to catch the sound. She hit her with that, stiff corner. So, yeah. I feel like it almost... I don't know. A lot of people hated this segment. I almost feel like it came off as a shoot after a while. Brie Bella is such a horrible actor. Nikki, I thought, was so much better in portraying this, heel persona. And, I think she's embracing this. And I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing out of Nikki. And for Brie, they're making her more farm girlish to make the connection with Daniel Bryan and everything. I don't know. I think this is going to be good for Nikki and for Brie. Her wrestling is good, but I never thought her acting and her persona was that good. And I think already...
Yeah, Nikki's the better talker and Brie's the better wrestler. That's exactly what I feel, too. But I really liked this segment. I thought this was one of the best of the night. I was actually kind of shocked when people said they didn't like it. She pretty much calls Jerry an old man, too, and she slaps him. That was hilarious.
I was worried. Jerry got another heart attack. Get out of there, Jerry. Jeez.
Yeah, she got in the fans' faces, too, and pretty much said that they're all fat and ugly and they can never have twins, so she took a heat. She got heat for that, too.
The twin fetish? That I thought was outstanding.
Yeah. And then she, of course, took shots at Daniel Bryan. She pretty much did everything, and it was great. I was a little disappointed that Stephanie didn't come out, but I don't know, though. I think it might just be better to leave it with Brie and Nikki and not have anybody come out. But, yeah, it was interesting. I think it needs a little bit more work, obviously, especially with the Brie acting. I love Brie. I do like her a lot. But I do think her acting needs some work. Nikki's got it. Nikki just needs a little bit of tweaking. But Brie, I think someone needs to work with her or something because...
Nikki need a leash. I feel like Nikki pushed it to the extreme, and she was like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to take it. That's what I felt anyway. I actually commend her with, she might have pushed the out. Reminds me of Daniel Bryan choking out Justin Roberts. They told him to go for it, and he went for it. He got a little heat for it.
And then got fired for it.
Hopefully he couldn't get fired, but the fact that she's banging Cena probably doesn't hurt her.
Yeah. Next is Roman Reigns versus Kane and Seth. And Roman, pretty much, he spears Kane, he's going for the victory, and it obviously ends in a DQ. Seth attacks him with the briefcase, and they're about ready to do the cinder block thing, and then Roman got out of it, and he grabs the cinder block, and he tries to throw it into Seth's face, and luckily Seth got away, because that would have hurt his face, and I wouldn't have liked that. And
crap from last week.
Yeah, and obviously that goes for, obviously I don't think Roman's done with them. There's so
Oh
many
yeah.
things that this could happen. Dean could obviously return and help Roman out, even if it's like a handicap match for Night of Champions with Seth and Kane versus Roman again. But like I said, I actually think that Dean might show up at Night of Champions. Now that I think about it, it's going to be late notice, and he's going to have to hurry up and get a plane ride and everything. But I think he might do it just to show that it's going to be a shocker and everything, and then him helping them, hurrying up, and like, especially if they do the center block thing again, they try and do the center block thing again. He's not like getting out of it; he's like completely out, and then Dean just shows up out of nowhere, out of the arena, and he just jumps the barricade and he just goes nuts. I think it would be awesome.
I think how I would do it is I would have Roman like maybe have the match in hand, and then have Dean come out and almost kind of mess it up for Roman, cause Roman to get a DQ. That way Roman can get a little angry at Dean too, like, hey, like, I had this, bro, like, I got your back, I'm fighting for you, but you came in and messed this up. I had this, and that can set the stage and the psychology. Because I'm telling you, Haley, a triple threat match in the Hell in the Cell with the 3 members of the Shield. Come on, they need to do it. I've got this in my head. They need to do it.
Because it's just like Dean and Roman are still too close, and I think all of them need to just hate each other right now. I think that would be great. Because, I mean, you can still have Roman and Dean both be faces and stuff like that and keep Seth the heel, but it's just like it doesn't mean that you can't, hate each other.
Yep. You can have triple threat matches. You can. I think they can really get a lot of that, and the crowd can. It'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts with the Golden Boy in there. I feel like Ambrose is kind of the IWC's boy, and then Seth has his fan base, and obviously Seth's going strong right now as well. So, it'll be interesting to see how the energies clash and who the fans really get behind in that environment.
Yeah,
I think the pace would be frenetic. I think they'd use the Hell in the Cell. I think Seth would do some acrobatic shit. I think Dean would do some fucking unbelievable, wow, who would have even thought to use the cage like that shit? I think Roman could obviously use it to his advantage, maybe a spear through the cage, breaking it. I know Edge had done that in the past, but something to kind of mix it up. I really think that you put the 3 of them in there because you need to keep Roman busy. Roman can't fight Brock until WrestleMania. They can't even touch. People are like, oh,
yeah.
Roman's getting shot. No, bring back Batista.
Because he has to win the Royal Rumble.
Batista can keep Brock busy for a few months. Randy can keep Brock busy for a few months. That's what Cena is going to keep him busy until after this month. Keep them busy with your top A stars and have those feuds that you want to have while Lesnar's still here. Your Orton versus Lesnar. I want to see it. Hasn't been done since Orton was a baby. I want to see it. I want to see Batista versus Lesnar. Hasn't been done since OVW practically. Get those matches are big paydays. Get those matches done, and those are matches where Brock can just enhance his resume right now of boom, beat the Undertaker, beat Cena, beat Orton, beat Batista, and that way when Roman or whoever is the guy to finally beat him, it just makes him that much more stronger. Because not only did you beat Brock, but you beat the guy who beat Brock, beat the guy who beat Randy, beat the guy who beat all these guys, Rock even back in the day. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think they can do a lot. And Batista was supposed to appear 2 weeks ago, too, and he never did. So hopefully he shows up after the John Cena.
Probably saving it just because, with the Cena rematch with Brock, Batista would take up space right now. So I would say Batista coming back after Night of Champions makes a lot of sense. And maybe he throws his hat in the ring. Maybe Paul and Brock have a promo. Oh, we destroyed Cena again. No one's going to touch Brock. Who's next? And Batista comes out by surprise. And, I never got my one-on-one title shot. I won the Royal Rumble, blah, 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 and can kind of go from there. You're Triple H. Now you're Triple H's guy. Fuck that. I can beat you. And it's a believable struggle. It's a believable matchup. That's what you got to think right now. What matchups are believable that this person maybe could have a chance of beating Brock? People talk about RVD. Thank God that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? No. Randy Orton, Batista, John Cena, these need to be the guys to work with Brock while Brock's on top to have these dream matches, and then Brock can put over Roman or whoever the guy they have.
Definitely. Next is Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil versus Las Menadores. And you know what? His partner came back tonight, so he's obviously all healed up, so they're obviously back together. And Heath Slater lost again. He lost on a main eventer Superstars too. But it's just like, seriously, he can't even just beat these guys. It's like they're not the tag team champs. They're not fighting for the tag team champion.
I know. It's Matadors. The Matadors are a put over team, and you can't beat the Matadors. Give me a break.
I know. It's just like, why couldn't they just let them have this one damn fucking win? I'm sorry about my language. It's just
Titus O'Neil and Heath Slater. I'm with you on this one, and I'm a big Titus O'Neil fan as it is too. I think I feel about Titus O'Neil how you feel about Heath Slater. Like, these guys both have a lot of potential. Primetime players were split up too soon. They had more potential. They should at least had a run with the tag team title. They killed that off with no payoff. They killed 3MB off with no payoff. And now Heath Slater, and, they both have charisma. I think Heath Slater has a lot more charisma than his Nexus brethren, Darren Young. I'll tell you that much. And I think they work well together. And I want to see more. I want to see them do vignettes. I think they could be that fun tag team. I mean, you need an entertaining tag team. How did the Guerreros get over? By doing the lie, cheating, and steal vignettes. I think Slater Gator has that potential. I'm not saying in the ring they're Los Guerreros, especially Titus. He's not there. But charisma standpoint, I'd love to see what they can do. Maybe you get them involved with guest hosts, something to get them some kind of rub. I don't know. I enjoy Slater Gator. Slater Gator!
And you know what? A lot of people like Heath Slater too. He's been getting a lot of pops and everything like that. And you know what? It's funny because a lot of people told me I've liked Heath Slater since NXT. I've told them that our Nexus or whatever, all that stuff pretty much since he's been in FCW, the developmental group. But I pretty much said that I liked this guy and everything, and everyone was just like, oh my God, he's not good. He was like the weakest one in Nexus, and and they're finally seeing that he's actually good if they actually just let him wrestle and not just be put over. If they actually let him put over a few guys, like this would have been a perfect opportunity. They're not going to do anything with these guys. Not trying to be mean, but they haven't done anything with them. They're not in the tag team title opportunity anytime soon. It's just like this would have been the perfect moment.
Yeah, they can't even beat a garbage put over tag team like the Matadors. Give me a break. Like, they're right back where 3MB were. Like, it's just like ridiculous. Let these guys have some shine too. They're fun. Zack Ryder was fun. Why do you kill off these like organically fun characters? And then you try to force fun with a character like Adam Rose, and the crowd is just like, yawn. So it is what it is. People have to organically get over, and I think the WWE, when they see that, they get intimidated because they want their writers and their creations to get stuff over. And when stuff organically gets over, like doing a YouTube show like Zack Ryder did, they get intimidated by it. I'm convinced of it. They hate people that get over on their own.
I think that's why they hate Dolph Ziggler too, because he trained himself, and they don't like that.
Yeah, Ziggler's in that category.
He has a big mouth, though. I'm not trying to be mean to Dolph Ziggler, but he does have a big mouth. He likes to open it. I mean, it might be the truth, but sometimes you just gotta close the mouth, especially in front of them.
I think Jim and Zach have that issue. They both they should fight more instead of going on Twitter and bitching, they should actually fight more in the back. There's been some shoot interviews finally going out with Zack Ryder because he was on Steve Austin and Jericho's podcast recently, and Jericho straight asked Ryder, what happened? Why did the push get kiboshed? Ryder straight up said he didn't even know. How do you not even know? Isn't that so sad?
That
thinking
is
back.
sad.
I mean, it's just these guys, it's like they have no balls. Like Vince said, you want to go for the brass ring. And guys like Jericho would have, and Austin, and all of these guys would have to fight to get their shit in. And fight to the bitter end. Jericho talks about it in a lot of books. So, to me, this new generation of Kofi Kingstons and Dolph Zigglers and Zack Ryders, they go on Twitter, and Ryback's another one. They go on Twitter and air their grievances, but why aren't they knocking the boss's door down? And what you got to do? It's political business, unfortunately.
See, I talked about this too on SmackDown. I actually kind of bashed him, and people were probably shocked because he's my favorite. I bashed a little bit on Seth Rollins, on SmackDown because I talked about how he has a big mouth backstage, and he does. He has a huge, huge ego, and I'm not talking about the character. I'm talking about Colby Lopez. He has a huge ego. I heard he was a nice guy. I heard he was a real sweet guy, sweetheart in real life, and he takes pictures with the fans, and he's a real nice guy. But he has a big, big mouth, and
He's got that in common with CM Punk. That he does.
He does. He does. He says that he's the best and everything, and that he deserves better than this. And it's just like, it might be true, but you can't. I mean, there's certain times where you gotta let stuff go. With the whole Big Show thing, him not wanting to shake Big Show's hand, him thinking like he's better, or too good to shake someone's hand, and it's just like, you know,
I didn't hear about that. He didn't you want to shake Big Show's hand?
It was something along those lines. It was Roman and Randy had a problem too backstage, but they're still having problems backstage. But it was right when the Shield started. They had said something about like Big Show saying that Seth did not know how to shake hands right, and so I'm guessing that's where that happened. Like he didn't want to shake Big Show's hand, or like maybe he was sarcastic or cocky when he shook his hand. He does come off as cocky.
And the wrestling rookie that goes into a locker room of veterans, i.e. NXT guys going to the WWE locker room. They did it actually like on camera with Ziggler's gimmick originally. That's kind of how it actually is. How you doing? How you doing? Shake hands. You know what I mean? Especially with a veteran like Big Show. And I'm going to rag on Big Show coming up here. But like in terms of like you're a veteran coming in. But at the same time, like look where Seth Rollins, he's got that chip on his shoulder, but look where Seth Rollins is now. He's on path to the top, so.
Yeah, they had problems with him in NXT. He was saying that he doesn't even need to be there, and that he needs to be on the main roster now. He's too good enough. And it's like you gotta work on your schedule. It's just like Kevin Steen and Prince Deviant and Kenta are too good to be on NXT too, but it's like they gotta work with the schedule first. You gotta work with their schedule. You know, you gotta make sure you know you can do it, and it's just like you got to get used to it before you actually just go straight forward, you know?
Loki was another one who came into the WWE with that attitude, and that's why Loki only lasted 2 months after the NXT stuff.
Yeah, and one of my friends, she said she met Seth and his fiance backstage, and she said that, you know, he came off as a real he was real nice and everything, but he was sarcastic. He was like a ham, and he liked to joke around, and he thought he was like so funny. And you know, I love him and everything, but it's just like he's got to put a muzzle on his mouth or something. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Next, Triple H is back. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Next is Bo Dallas versus Kofi, and this was kind of a squasher match. Kofi, they really have not done anything with him. They killed that whole angle, the whole, I think we talked about this, they only killed because I guess it was a racial thing, and they didn't want to do it. They were getting like racial comments and stuff like that, and so they just killed the Big E, and I'm just like, are you serious? That would have been so good for Kofi. Even Jim Ross was saying that Kofi would have been great as a heel. Yep. So I know it's not just me that can't stand Kofi's character, because I'm getting so bored with him. It's like, ugh.
It's everybody. I mean, and trust me, I'm with you. And that may have been the last straw with Kofi. And even though Big E's young, these guys are toiling now. They're put over guys. And Xavier Woods, for God's sakes, that could have saved his career. He could have been the next Abraham Washington. Oh, wait, that didn't work out either. So... unfortunate.
Yeah, and Jack Swagger actually came out, and he did his move on Bo Dallas, and pretty much laid him out, and that was that. So that obviously Jack Swagger got the last laugh tonight. That shut him up, and obviously Bo's gonna probably get mad and attack him in his next match, either on SmackDown or Raw, whenever he has his next match. But yeah. I really don't have too much more to say about this. Do you?
No, we kind of highlighted it. I just, we talked about it before about Bo Dallas and Jack Swagger. I like where they're going there. But yeah, all in all, sad for Kofi. Main event time.
Last segment of the night. Bo pretty much, or not Bo, Bray Wyatt did a segment, and he pretty much said that John Cena is like a wounded animal, and he has a disease, and that he has to have him stop spreading his disease, and he's going to help him out, and he's going to show him the real him, pretty much like he said when they were feuding. And then they go into their match, And John Cena pretty much controls most of this match. He was pretty aggressive during this match. Bray pretty much didn't really get a hit in. And then the Wyatt family attacked him. And then Big Show and Mark Henry, our two favorite people in the world, came out. And they made it a 6-man tag team match. And John Cena won. And he did 3 attitude adjustments, 1 to each of the Wyatts. And that was pretty much that.
If I were them, I would have had him take it a step further. I mean, the audacity of Mark Henry and Big Show to come out and try to get a rub-off Cena at this point, and I'm going to actually sit here and defend Cena for a moment. Here's the shocker. John Cena, I actually am impressed. The promo was a little underwhelming, but I actually am impressed. Again, talk about Rocky Balboa-esque booking. Now he takes this serious. Not that he didn't take the first match serious, but he was intimidated. He came in and got his ass beat. Now he's coming in, and he was doing different suplexes, not just Germans. And I've never really seen John do Germans, but he was very aggressive doing the Germans. Did a Saito suplex. Did they like to say it's fisherman suplex, but that is no fisherman suplex. You gotta hook the actual knee like Perfect did. Michael Cole always calls that a fisherman just because Cena kind of grabs at the knee when he does it. But either way, I think John needs a new finisher. I think the AA is getting stale. It's just not good enough, like when the stunner or the rock bottom or the code breaker or something that's just like boom, boom, or the super kick. Something that you could take out a few heads with that. But I thought the AA just didn't fit there. I wish John would kind of develop something different as an alternate finisher at this point to kind of help his game. I think that would help his cause. Overall, I like what they did though with John's character. A lot of people weren't feeling it. I liked it, but you know what? If I were them, I would have had John attack Mark Henry and Big Show too. John Cena did not ask for their help. He did not ask for their help. And if anything, the way they're booking Cena, not necessarily even in a heelish way, but just like Steve Austin almost. It didn't matter if you were a face, if you were Mick Foley or Dude Love or Mankind or anybody. Steve Austin would stun your ass. And I felt like that's what they should have done with this, is just have him go completely ape shit. And he's pissed, and he's going to get at Lesnar, and fuck Mark Henry and Big Show. Him and Lesnar has owned Mark Henry and Big Show for years. Let's be serious for a minute. So why is John Cena even going to want Mark Henry and Big Show's help? He's defeated the Wyatts in the past. Like I said, he's defeated Mark Henry and Big Show multiple times. It is ridiculous. Stay away from John. Go. You want to go fight the Wyatts? Fight them on your own time. Don't inject yourself in the main event because you're working 6-man darkies. Please, Mark Henry and Big Show. Go away. You're 46 years old. Yeah, Big Show lost 20 pounds. Captain Insano shows no mercy. I get it, but the cachet's gone. Retire. Go do pre-show stuff. Talk on DVDs. Go do Comic-Cons. Do stuff for the company. But it's these guys, they're not doing themselves any favors at this point. They're 20, 25 years in their career. No one pays to see Mark Henry and Big Show anymore. People pay to see Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Roman Reigns. That's who the people that they're going to go to pay to see. And when guys like Sammy and Kevin Steen come up, they're going to pay to see them too. But Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and guys like that. And John Cena, definitely John Cena. But people don't pay to see Mark Henry and Big Show. Mark Henry had his chance at the main event feud when he turned heel on Cena. That was interesting. They did the one and done, and it's over. It's over. You want to go for the tag team titles, want to pretend to be the Twin Towers, go ahead, whatever. I ain't mad at you. But just stay. John doesn't need anybody else attached to him right now. He needs to be singular entity. I truly and passionately believe that, and I don't know where they're gonna do the change with John's character. Obviously, they teased a little heat with him and Hulkster early on. That was quite interesting, but I really felt like that did John no favors having Mark and Big Show come out, and I really wish John Cena would have attacked them too. And I think the crowd would have went apeshit. I think Cena might have got a reaction he hasn't gotten in years if he had attacked Henry and Big Show. Are you kidding me? They missed an opportunity there.
I know. I was praying for that. I was just like, please, please, please let him attack them.
Speaking of moments I was praying for, I was praying that Roman would legitimately drop Kane on the cinder blocks. like Samoan drop his ass on there or spear him through it or something, or like Superman punch him and he falls through it. You know, enough of Kane too. Corporate Kane, Big Daddy Kane, Masked Kane, Unmasked Kane, Isaac Yank and BDS, Corporate Kane. Go away! Go away! No, I will say him and Seth have some weird chemistry, and it's starting to borderline on Team Hell No chemistry. I will say that. Starting to be entertaining to see them in the backstage because they kind of got a little bromance going on, oddly enough. Corporate Kane and Seth, I've been noticing that lately, and that's kind of funny. But other than that, like just like be Seth's muscle, and then like have Roman kill you off, and then you're done. Like you're done. Enough. Go do See No Evil 2. You know, I don't even care. They're supposedly going to make a Brothers of Destruction DVD, which I think that's going to be terrible. I'm not going to be buying that one, even though I am a fan of them. But come on now, enough. John Cena, like what he did, but stop throwing these useless assets to help John Cena. Zack Ryder would be better off helping John Cena than these jokes, for real. And that's no diss to them. They're Hall of Famers. But go away, all three of them. Big Show, Kane, and Mark Henry. It's not 1996. Mark Henry, Kane was on the roster in 1993 as Isaac Yankem. Mark Henry was on the roster in 1996. Big Show, 1998. Started in WCW, 1995, 1996. Enough is enough. Boom.
I agree. I do. I agree. The whole thing with that is they're taking spots away from the younger talent that could be going from NXT that could be going up. They're taking spots from them, and they're just, I mean, like the Mark Henry and Big Show, they didn't know what to do with them. They even said that they didn't have anything for Big Show for creative, and he got done with his movie like a while ago. But they said they didn't put him on the show because they're like, we don't have anything for you, so we're just going to put you with Mark Henry and make you, steal pretty much a spot away from someone who could be coming up, like Adrian Neville. I can't stand Adrian Neville. I never will like him. But you know what? I think I'd rather have him on the main roster because at least he deserves to be on the main roster other than, Big Show and Mark Henry and Kane.
How about mentioned? There's a tag team that's been in NXT forever now. Call them up. They were supposed to get called up at WrestleMania. They want tag teams, bring up a real tag team. You're about to sign the Young Bucks. You're bringing in Steen and Devitt as a tag team, which I find quite interesting. You're going to have tag teams coming up. No reason to put Captain Insano and the Sexual Chocolate together. Notice the crowd was chanting Sexual Chocolate tonight. Yeah, they're chanting because they're sick of seeing them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I can understand Kane being there because, he's still part of authority and he's still helping Seth out, and that's fine and everything. But you know what? Mark Henry and Big Show, you have no reason. And Mark Henry, you didn't even do anything with Rusev tonight. So, like, what? Why were you here? It's just like if they're really not going to do anything with Rusev and Mark Henry anymore, it's just like, just let them go, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure I'll probably see him on SmackDown. Mark Henry will do something. It's just like, but then he acted like he didn't even come out during Rusev's match. I thought that was bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre.
They've done this so much. If WWE Raw was considered like a sitcom or an actual TV show, and you like The Walking Dead. I'm not a fan of The Walking Dead. Let's take that for example. Everybody watches The Walking Dead. Say for example, you introduced a character like you were talking about Kofi's group earlier. They do that, and they introduce this alliance of three characters and kind of on the show. And then the next week, they made no reference for it. Fans would be so pissed. They'd be like, "Are you kidding me? Like, where did this go?" That's bad writing. That reflects on the WWE writing staff. And I feel like I've called writing staff off a couple of times out just on this show. Never mind on my channel. But I mean, seriously, come on. Like, it's just bad continuity, and we saw this with the Mark Henry thing. Like, they're teasing Mark Henry and Big Show as a tag team, but then Mark Henry comes out just to get a cheap rub to interrupt Rusev, but you're not even going to do the job for Rusev? Like, give me a break.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go raise your baby hand, Mark Henry. Go raise it.
They need to get him away so they can start bringing up Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn. It's crazy.
The more these 46-year-old guys hold up roster slots, the longer it's going to take for these awesome NXT guys to come up.
Yeah, and too bad Corey Graves couldn't come up. I guess they're done with him. Well, they're not done with him, but since he got 2 concussions, they're not going to have him as a wrestler. They do want him. They are trying to find some place to put him because they want. I don't know if they're trying to find like a manager job or like an interviewer backstage or something. But they said they do want to keep him. They do want him to do something. They don't want him to keep getting hurt. So they're gonna. I guess they said they're done with him as a wrestler. And I really, really, really like Corey Graves. I'm a big fan of Corey Graves.
I haven't seen a lot of what I have, the limited what I have seen I really like. He can talk, he can work. Maybe they put him in an Alex Riley role for now, kind of like an announcer. But as of now, I mean, that's unfortunate. He had a lot of momentum, and I felt like Graves was probably in the top 3 of guys. You know, there's a lot of people like Tyler Breeze, a lot of people like Sammy, a lot of people like Adrian. I thought he was right up there with those guys in terms of like the cream of the crop of NXT right now.
Definitely. But yeah, the Raw was just, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Raw last night.
6.5 out of 10 on my rankings. Not strong. I enjoyed certain segments, but I don't have faith in them following up on those segments, a la Mizdow.
Yeah, it looks like the Mark Henry and Rusev thing might be done. It looks like the Randy and Roman thing might be done. It looks like they're just doing new feuds. It looks like Roman and Seth are going to fight because, you know, they wanted Seth, obviously, to have a match at Night of Champions. I think they would have just been fine with him having to do a fake cash, and I mean, that's all he really needed. And then maybe Dean coming out and stopping it, I think that would have been good for him for the show. But they obviously want Seth to have a match, which I have no problem with, you know. But
I don't even think Seth's going to think about cashing in while Lesnar holds the title. I think he's almost going to make you forget he's got that briefcase, kind of like Edge did, because Edge had 2 feuds. Edge was the first ever Money in the Bank champion, obviously. He had 2 big feuds that took out about 10, 11 months, and people almost forgot he had the damn thing. He feuded with Kane, and then he feuded with Matt Hardy, and then he had a quick little feud with Ric Flair, which kind of had some legs. And he ended up cashing in on Cena at the Elimination Chamber event at the New Year's Revolution pay-per-view, and people almost forgot he had it because it was about a year, and it was the perfect cash-in. That's why WrestleMania or sometime thereafter, when Roman staggered, that's when to do it. Continue the Shield feud. Don't even do it on Brock. Brock's too strong. He'd waste the cash-in. I want Seth to successfully cash it in. So as an advisor to him, I would advise him not to think about it. You have till next year's TLC. Till next year's Money in the Bank round. So next July. You have time. You don't have to.
Especially when Brock Lesnar is technically part of Authority right now. So I doubt Seth would cash in.
You don't want to go rogue and cash in on that monster. You'll get destroyed, and you'll end up like Damian Mizdow. You don't want that. You want long cash in.
Well, guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to us, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and don't forget to like our group on Facebook. I will put all the links in the description. Don't forget to follow Joe on his channel. I'll put that link in the description too.
That's right. Joe Passarelli channel. Also, if you're in Rhode Island, October 24th, West Warwick, Rhode Island, 65 Manchester Street, RICW presents drumsticks, and drop kicks. Jonathan Smash and Tyler Sexton on the card, Brandon Webb and Brian Sire on the card. Gonna be great race wrestling, gonna be some local music as well. Come on down, $10 a ticket, they're going fast. You don't want to miss this event. Come on down, hit the subscribe button to Joe Passarelli, and of course the Wrestling Throwdown. Join the discussion group, and keep it drama-free or you're gonna get a boot to the face, baby.
Yes, no drama please in our group. Well, guys, it's been great, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.